Hey, what's up, y'all? I hope everybody that's a East Coaster like me made it through the storm all right, especially all my friends up in Jersey that I went to school with. So, I want to make a quick video about the role of religion in this election. So, Obama's religion came up a lot in 2008, right, when they tried to link him to, or he clearly was linked to right when they tried to make a big fuss about him being in Jeremiah Wright's church, and of course they started calling him Arab and Muslim at the same time. The right did, um, and they've done that to an extent this election cycle, but more in between the elections. They really hammered home that Barack Obama is a Muslim. Why a majority or a plurality of their idiot constituents feel that way. But I don't understand how it hasn't come up about Mitt Romney. Now this guy is a bishop in the LDS Church. If a monk or a cardinal or the leader of an archdiocese, if that's a title, or a priest, anybody like that ran for office, their faith would be an issue, even if they were completely mainstream Christian, which Mitt Romney is not. So I'm absolutely baffled by that. I'll get to that hypothesis in a second as to why it's not. But this man is a bishop in a church that is extraordinarily racist and extraordinarily homophobic, extraordinarily repressive and reserved and conservative in all their prescriptive remedies. And they are very prescriptive. They think that everybody should do these things. That's what most religions think, right? They don't think people should have abortions. They want that to be the law. And this man was a missionary in this church when this church was explicitly racist, would not promote black people to priesthood or whatever, and explicitly said that blacks would not join them in join in seats next to them in heaven, or whatever the exact line from their book is, but blacks can't go to heaven. This is Mitt Romney. This guy is a piece of shit, and and just because he's cloaked in religion doesn't make him any less of a racist, homophobic piece of shit. Now, my hypothesis on why it's not an issue is because his whiteness makes him still more normal than Barack Obama. Unfortunately, we live in an extraordinarily racist country. I assume some of my viewers have seen that AP poll in which 51% of Americans have racial biases against blacks, which is up. It's no surprise since we've had nothing but just absolutely overt and dog whistle racism from the right for 5 years in a row, and it's disgusting. If they win an election through doing that, I really feel terrible for this country. I really feel terrible for where we're going, for how dumb our constituency is, for how hateful our constituency is. That I've said it before, that a man who is a bishop in a church that discriminates against African Americans and homosexuals, a man that said Latinos should self-deport, a man that won't release his taxes, a man that has run his campaign on absolutely nothing but lies, a man who has flip-flopped on every stance, from abortion to the auto bailouts. I mean, there isn't a stance he hasn't flip-flopped on. And the idea that this man could become president, in the extraordinarily likely event that he's going to win the popular vote in this country, it blows my mind. It makes me extraordinarily sad. I find it completely disgusting. Um, and besides race, I can't see it. The guy is a horrible candidate. He's made flub after flub after flub after gaffe after gaffe after gaffe. Made the 47% video. Just absolutely botched his foreign policy tour when he went to England, and other places, right? It, it, this is all very troubling and very unsettling. And, you know, I blame the media quite a bit for not calling shit the way it should be, right? Mitt Romney is a piece of shit liar, and to do anything but besides call him that is a joke, and it's not telling the truth. To play this false equivalency that Obama lies sometimes and so does Romney, and that makes them both equivalent liars. No, and this idea that, I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous. Barack Obama should be the Republican dream. He is a Republican in policy. He is a Republican in rhetoric. The only way he's not a Republican is because he has a D by his name. But the guy has done very few liberal things and an extraordinarily amount of conservative things, and yet they hate him. And yet more than 50% of this country is going to vote against him. And obviously, you know, well over 80% of Republicans who should be, you know, this should be their wet dream. This guy's going to cut Social Security for them. This guy's going to cut Medicare for them. This guy's not going to cut military spending. He's not going to do anything about global warming. He didn't do anything about immigration for the most part, even though he did try to pass the DREAM Act and they slapped that down. He offers them 10-to-1 spending cuts to revenue increases, and they say no. I mean, the guy is a Republican dream. And I mean, there's really only a few reasons that we can be in the place we are right now in terms of the polling, in terms of where the election's going to go. So I still think Obama's going to win. I still think he'll win Ohio. I still think he'll win Iowa. I still think he'll win Virginia. I'm almost positive he'll win Wisconsin, and I'm positive he'll win Nevada. That puts him well over 270. But the Republicans are gonna bitch and moan and piss and cry that he wins the electoral vote and not the popular vote, and they're gonna continue to engage in this horrible obstructionism that they do, and hopefully they cannot take the Senate. It doesn't look like they can, because they just can't stop saying dumbass shit about rape. I mean, this is a joke party. The fact that they are competitive in any national election is absurd. Their stance on rape is ridiculous. Their stance on abortion is ridiculous. Their stance on the role of government is ridiculous. Their stance on military spending is ridiculous. Their stance on foreign policy is ridiculous. Anyhow, I really want everyone to go out there. Please lobby your friends that don't know anything. And I'd assume anybody who plans on voting for Mitt Romney doesn't know much. But even if they're undecided, and even if they're an Obama supporter, inform them about what's going on, man. It's like I always tell everybody that asks me about this. Yes, Obama wants to take a piss on your foot. Yes, he does. He's not here to help you. He is not the great savior. He's not the great hope. He is not a good president. But Mitt Romney wants to take a shit on your chest. And he does not give a shit about you. He wants to raise your taxes so he can lower his. I mean, this is what the guy stands for. And it is absolutely disgusting. So please tell your friends, we cannot let a man lie his way into office. It sets a terrible precedent. And we have much more, you know, we still have something to be proud about as Americans. We're losing it, and it's becoming much more nebulous, but we still have something to be proud about. But this would drive a stake right in our heart in terms of how people view us, and really in terms of how we are. If a man can lie his way into office and just use racial epithets through him and John Sununu and other people like that to rile up a racist vote and steal an election without offering anything, and being the least transparent candidate in the history of American politics. So, despite the fact that I don't think there's a great alternative, this is an extraordinarily important election, and we must defeat the worst candidate in the history of the United States. Peace. Fuck Mitt Romney. Have a good day.